Exposed, her adopted son kicked her out, then discovered a hidden $100 million transformation. Ellen stood in her cozy kitchen, the smell of roast chicken filling the air, but her heart felt hollow. Tonight was supposed to be a celebration, a milestone for Isaac as he graduated high school. But deep down, a nerve was exposed, a simmering tension that had been steadily rising over the years. Isaac had just confronted her, accusing her of holding him back from his dreams, of suffocating him with her expectations. The weight of his words clung to her, amplifying the sense of failure creeping into every corner of her mind. How had it come to this? She pressed her hands against the counter, feeling the cool granite beneath her palms. Ellen had worked tirelessly since the day she adopted Isaac, the American dream embodied in the late-night shifts and the sacrifices made to offer him a life filled with possibilities. Instead, it felt like she was losing him, losing the one thing she loved most. The thought stung like a bee in her chest. She had fallen short as a mother, and it ached more than any bruise she sustained during night shifts in the hospital. She poured the gravy over the chicken, each pour feeling like a layer of her heart breaking as she realized she might never see Isaac the way she wished to again. The familiar warmth of family was gradually becoming a chilling echo of what once was, the sticky residue of resentment and disappointment filling the space between them. She had tried so hard, wasn't that enough? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the minutes ticked by, Ellen felt the pulse of anxiety quicken. What was her next step? Should she reach out to Isaac again, extend an olive branch? Or was it time to let go, to embrace the idea of a life without him? The walls of the kitchen closed in, the once comforting elements turning to suffocating reminders of solitude. Unresolved anger festered within her like a dense fog. In a surge of emotion, she stormed out of the house, the door slamming behind her and echoing into the quiet street lined with oak trees. She walked aimlessly through her quaint Midwestern town, memories flooding her mind, Isaac's laughter, the bedtime stories, and the dreams they shared of a bright future. Now those dreams felt like weights dragging her into uncertainty, a life unraveled at the seams. What had gone wrong? Restless nights followed, and in the attic, among the dust and forgotten memories, she discovered her late mother's journal. Each page held tales of resilience and a family-run art business that had once thrived, a treasure lost to greed. It was a hidden legacy, a staggering $100 million fortune waiting to be unearthed. Ellen's heart raced, it felt like destiny calling her name, igniting a dormant flame within her. Could she finally carve out her identity in the lingering shadows of loss? Would Isaac ever understand the depth of her struggle? As she stood before the mirror, the reflection hinted at the possibility of a new beginning, yet the tension of their fractured relationship loomed large. What awaited on the horizon? Would she have the courage to confront the ghosts of their past and seize the future she had only just begun to imagine? Ellen read through her mother's journal with growing urgency. The words pulsated in her mind, a blueprint of dreams and struggles, detailing the artistry that ran in her family. Her mother's voice echoed through the lines, a reminder that resilience had always been their legacy, but it had been buried under layers of unfulfilled potential and grief. A sense of determination surged within Ellen. This wealth was not merely a monetary figure, it represented freedom and potential, a lifeline that could redefine both her and Isaac's future. She marveled at the thought of reclaiming her family's legacy, but the shadows of doubt still loomed. Could she truly step into this world of entrepreneurship and artistry, or was she simply chasing an illusion spun by nostalgia? This hidden fortune felt intimidating. It required strategy, planning, and most importantly, courage. Ellen flipped the pages feverishly, absorbing ideas about art restoration and gallery management. Each entry sparked a flicker of creativity in her that she thought had long been extinguished. The artist within her wanted to awaken, yet the mother in her felt shackled by her current reality. Facing these fears head-on was the only way forward. Over the next few days, she began to sketch a plan. Saturdays would be dedicated to digging deeper into her mother's legacy, researching the market, networking with local artists, and perhaps, exploring how to revitalize the art community that had once thrived in her town. Ellen realized the first step wasn't just about awakening the business, it was about finding her new voice. As she sat in front of her weathered dining table, sketches sprawled out before her, the world felt both compelling and terrifying. It was unfamiliar territory. Ellen questioned her vision. What if Isaac disapproves? What if I fail? Those thoughts simmered in the back of her mind, but they didn't consume her. Instead, she took a deep breath and reminded herself this was about reclaiming not just her mother's legacy but her own identity as well. After a week of brainstorming and planning, she made the brave decision to introduce Isaac to her discoveries. Steeling herself, she initiated a conversation during a quiet moment together after dinner. "Isaac, there's something I found that might change everything for us," she started, her voice steady but the apprehension flaring in her chest. To her surprise, he listened intently, skepticism written across his face. As she shared her findings on the art business and how she envisioned blending their lives into this new chapter, she could see the gears turning in Isaac's mind. The words spilled out, passion igniting each sentence. This wasn't merely a pitch, it was an olive branch to heal the rifts between them. Isaac glanced at her, the weight of his recent accusations evident in his eyes. "You really think you can do this?" he asked, a flicker of admiration mixed with doubt. "Not just for me. For us," Ellen replied, the weight of hope infusing her voice. "We could create something together. You've always had your own dreams, what if we joined them with this?" This moment felt fragile yet ripe with possibility. Ellen watched as Isaac's expression softened, the walls he'd built to shield himself starting to crack under the weight of shared ambition. But just as quickly as the conversation stoked new hope, fear snaked in, wrapping around her thoughts like vines. Would her ambition be enough to mend their estranged relationship? She had opened the door to new possibilities, but could either of them walk through it together? As they navigated this delicate potential for reconciliation, Ellen could sense the stakes rising. Isaac was no longer just a son on the verge of leaving, he was a partner who carried their shared legacy. The pivotal moment approached, and Ellen knew they had to confront more than just the past. They had to face the future and the ghosts lurking behind every decision. What challenges would they encounter in reviving the family legacy? Would they wrestle with their fears and the truth that lay in their strained relationship? Ellen felt the shifting sands of opportunity beneath her feet and asked herself, was she ready to risk everything, again, but this time together? The answer loomed just out of reach, but the time for action was drawing near. They stood on the precipice of change, and the next step would require confronting not only external challenges but their own inner conflicts. Whether they would seize the moment or retreat into the shadows awaited them, lingering heavily in the air. Ellen's heart raced as she stepped into the realm of the unknown. The space in her home, once filled with everyday comfort, felt charged with potential, heavy with the weight of her choices. She and Isaac had crossed a threshold. The idea of intertwining their paths sparked both exhilaration and trepidation. Together, they were embarking on a journey that demanded both artistic vision and solid business acumen. She watched Isaac as he processed what she had shared, his face a tapestry of contemplation and concern. Ellen realized that their personal discomfort mirrored the chaos she felt inside. The prospect of reconciliation felt like an open wound. They could nurture it back to life, but it also risked suffocating under the same old pressures. Her thoughts danced between creativity and logistics. Ellen scribbled ideas in a fresh notebook, her pen a lifeline to clarity amidst the confusion. What once seemed like just a dream began to coalesce into a tangible blueprint, a gallery that celebrated the nuances of community art, a place that would not only honor her mother's legacy but also cultivate new talent. Perhaps they could host workshops, invite local artists to display their work, and foster an environment of collaboration. Could Isaac see it too? Fueled by the remnants of hope, she took proactive steps toward realizing this vision. She reached out to various artists across town, even scheduling meetings to discuss the challenges and opportunities available. Each conversation revealed latent talent in her community begging for recognition, a cacophony of voices willing to amplify one another. Isaac watched her transformation with a mix of admiration and intimidation. She was becoming more like the fierce, determined woman their family needed. Once ignited, her passion spilled over into their everyday lives, infusing mundane moments with newfound purpose. One evening, while cooking dinner, Ellen casually mentioned a potential artist she'd met at a cafe. "She has this raw talent," Ellen said, excitement bubbling beneath her words. "We could create a theme for the upcoming month, something like Voices of Resilience. What do you think?" Isaac's brow furrowed. "It sounds big. Are we ready for that?" "Ready or not, we need to leap," Ellen replied, folding her arms. The stakes felt higher with each new conversation, but this was part of the process, wasn't it? To challenge one another, to push the boundaries of the risk they were willing to take. But unease nestled in her core, feeding doubts. Was she truly equipped to manage a gallery, to confront the financial realities? Perhaps the legacy her mother had envisioned was simply naive. Every positive step forward seemed intertwined with a dark counterpart. What if they failed? What if this endeavor drained their limited resources and left them with nothing? After an intense week of planning, Isaac finally found the words he'd been wrestling with. "Ellen, I admire what you're trying to do, but I can't ignore the reality we face. We need money to get this off the ground, and we can't throw ourselves into something without a safety net." His words cut through her fervor like a hammer striking glass. The fragility of their ambitions lodged in her throat. This was not merely about art but survival, a recalibration of their lives where added pressure threatened to fracture their already tenuous bond. In that moment, Ellen faced a harsh truth: hope was not enough. She needed to devise a sustainable plan that tackled their finances while nurturing her burgeoning ambition. Could she find investors, or perhaps even consider alternative funding avenues? Instead of being deterred by his skepticism, Ellen had to wield it, make it a part of her strategy. Their conversation shifted the dynamic from exploration to grounding reality. Ellen's determination solidified, fueling a need to prove not only to Isaac but to herself that she was not shaking off her mother's legacy in vain. As the days blurred into planning sessions and frantic sketches, an idea germinated: what if she used her mother's journal? Not only as a guide but as inspiration for a project of its own. This could serve as a means to connect their past to their future, perhaps even as a fundraising tool. The vision crystallized in her mind, vivid and intoxicating, and Ellen realized the next step was more than a mere business venture, it was a reclamation of self. But could Isaac support this leap of faith when his doubts loomed so large? Ellen steeled herself for another conversation, a reckoning of sorts, evidence that she was ready to lead them into uncharted waters, despite the uncertainty and fear bubbling beneath the surface. The true test loomed ahead, and she felt the time was drawing near to confront not just Isaac but her own fears. What awaited her beyond the threshold of their fragmented relationship? Was she truly prepared for the battle to redefine everything they had built? Ellen took a deep breath as she prepared to step into the light of possibility. Ellen stood at the edge of her resolve, uncertainty dancing in her mind like shadows in twilight. The flicker of doubt cast a pall over her newfound ambition. The gallery, a beacon of hope and healing, now glimmered with a hint of menace, its brilliance susceptible to the winds of failure. As she glanced out of the window into the fading light of day, she pondered on her mother's journal, each page a whisper of encouragement urging her to connect past and future. She meticulously reviewed her plans, the sketches, and notes sprawling across her dining table, now commandeered by this dream. Ideas flowed like an unquenchable river, yet she felt a dam threatening to break as financial realities pressed down on her. It was clear that her vision required a lifeline, one that could steer her toward sustainable growth rather than headfirst into the depths of financial ruin. Ellen recalled Isaac's concerned expression, the tremor in his voice reflecting the precarious line they walked. She understood his hesitation. It stemmed from a love that sought to shield them from risk. But how could she convey that this venture wasn't just about survival? It was about reclaiming her mother's spirit, an embodiment of resilience and creativity she longed to revive. Seizing the moment, she transformed angst into action. Ellen took her mother's journal and began documenting sections that resonated with her: lessons learned, insights gained, dreams unfulfilled. Each entry inspired ideas for exhibitions, themes that celebrated local artists through the lens of her mother's teachings. It was personal yet universal, blending her history with a vision for the community she wished to cultivate. Armed with her new strategy, Ellen picked up her phone, ready to connect with local artists she'd met. This time, she would frame her message not just around collaboration but as an invitation into a shared narrative. "Join me in creating something bigger than ourselves," she envisioned herself saying. "Let us honor those whose voices deserve to be heard." The excitement swelled within her, but adrenaline blended with fear. Within hours, she had set up 5 meetings. Ellen had made a step, yet the weight of potential rejection lingered. Would they see her vision? Or would she be reminded again of the fragility of dreams? That evening, she sat across from Isaac, the air thick with unspoken words as he cleared the remnants of dinner from the table. She knew what was coming. It was time for a reckoning. "Ellen," he said, his tone measured, worded with caution. "The more we talk about launching this gallery, the more I worry. What if we sink our savings into something that doesn't pan out?" Her heart raced, but she met his gaze, steeling herself. "I understand your concerns, Isaac. But I can't ignore the community that's out there waiting to be showcased. We have to get through this together." "Together," he echoed, doubt woven in the fabric of his voice. "Let us get investors. Let us draft a solid financial plan," she proposed, her voice trembling with conviction. "I'll use my mother's journal to create workshops and fundraising initiatives. This could be our lifeline." Isaac's brow furrowed even deeper, as if keeping a storm contained within. "You may be dreaming too big. Isn't this a bit reckless?" A prickling sensation formed in Ellen's chest, spurring her forward. "No, it's essential. Isaac, this is not just a gallery. It's a part of who I am. We are redefining our legacy here. Can't you see that this could mean more than just fiscal survival?" The silence hung heavy, stretching between them, simmering with her unyielding resolve and his flickering hesitation. He finally connected with her gaze, vulnerability and a trace of understanding igniting behind his eyes. Ellen sensed the shift. The conversation was not lost, but rather transforming. It was now about redefining limits rather than merely accepting them. Encouraged, she pressed forward. "Don't you want our lives to mean something? This could change everything for us, Isaac." The vulnerability present in the room left them both breathless. Yet she felt that this passion was not just a testament to her own beliefs but pivotal for their relationship, one that needed nurturing amidst the impending storms of doubt. As they sat together in that fragile moment of vulnerability, Ellen realized she was facing the truest test of her belief, not just in her dream, but in the very foundation upon which their partnership rested. And in that silence, she sensed a tipping point. The possibility of uniting purpose with practicality enveloped her, but could Isaac grasp the same sense of urgency? Their next steps loomed, each weighted by the uncharted potential they both feared and desired. Ellen leaned back in her chair, prepared for the questions to come, ready to chart a new course. Could they synchronously navigate the waves of ambition together while respecting their boundaries? The next conversation could either set them adrift or anchor them firmly in shared purpose. Ellen woke the next morning, the sunlight filtering through the window and casting warm patterns across her tangled dreams. The weight of last night's discussion was still heavy on her shoulders, but as she stirred, determination cracked through her lingering doubt like morning light piercing fog. She needed to be resolute not just for herself, but for Isaac as well. He could be persuaded to see beyond fear if she could establish a clearer vision. After a quick breakfast, she sat at her kitchen table, paper and colored pens ready to transform abstractions into reality. As she sketched, she allowed her heart to guide her hand. Vibrant colors, flowing lines, and evocative words poured forth. A series of workshops began to take shape on the pages, each one tied directly to a story from her mother's life, each connecting to the themes she'd unearthed from that journal. She envisioned attracting various artists from different backgrounds, perhaps even exploring unconventional mediums that spoke to the heart of the community, rather than conforming solely to traditional standards. It was time to blend the extraordinary with the everyday, showcasing not only established talents but also those hidden gems still waiting to be unearthed. Ellen's sketches became visionary blueprints, her dreams became a graphical narrative calling out to anyone who might share her passion. With her thoughts crystallizing, Ellen picked up her phone and made a list. The first on her agenda was to approach local businesses for sponsorship. Gritting her teeth against the familiar twinge of doubt, she committed to one standout pitch: invest in our dreams. Together, let us enlighten the community and yourself through art. She decided to put her ideas to the test. Even with Isaac's uncertainties weighing heavily on her mind, his caution spurred her into action rather than retreat. She sought inspiration where her mother had once found it and resolved to soldier on. The gallery was about more than art, it was a dialogue, bridging between lives and experiences. The potential for impact lay vast and unexplored. Ellen soon landed on the idea of a launch event, an exhibition that would not only showcase local talent but also demonstrate the community's engagement in her plans. She envisioned vibrant displays against the backdrop of her mother's journey, storytelling intertwined with artistry, a celebration of resilience precisely like the one she embodied. This was something she could present to Isaac, an approach with tangible possibilities that could alleviate his concerns. But would it ease his apprehension or deepen his skepticism? As the day unfurled, she found herself dropping into local businesses, navigating the ocean of uncertainty with an unexpected buoyancy. Each conversation held a potential for partnership, each handshake carried the weight of agreement. With each positive response, Ellen felt the flicker of hope grow brighter, the kind that drove her back to her kitchen table late in the evening, her creative zeal thriving. When she returned home that night, she found Isaac nestled on the couch, the glimmering TV casting a soft glow around their living room. With her heart now brimming with excitement, she realized she needed to share her visions and breakthroughs without reservation. After a moment of taking in his weary expression, Ellen made her case. "I did it, Isaac. I've laid the groundwork for our dream. Imagine a showcase that tells stories through art, evocative workshops. I connected with local businesses, gathered interest." His brow furrowed as disbelief washed over his features. "Ellen, you think this can happen overnight? These things take time, planning, and I know they do," she interjected, her voice steady but passionate. "But what if we leap? Let us turn our fears into something extraordinary, something that elevates us, pushes us to redefine legacy and purpose." The air hung between them, electric with possibility yet thick with doubt. Ellen struggled to wipe the slate clean of past fears and failures, but she needed Isaac to see her. Sighed, she needed him to feel the fervor lighting a fire within her. "Can't you feel it? A community coming together, art resonating beyond walls? This could be our vehicle for transformation," she urged. He took a slow breath, the tension palpable as she awaited his reaction. Uncertainty twinkled in his eyes, but Ellen saw a spark of something else, a glimmer of intrigue battling against the anxiety that had gripped him. "Maybe, but it still feels risky," Isaac hesitated. "How could we know unless we try?" Ellen's voice quavered with hope and challenge, her heart racing at the precipice of breakthrough. In that moment, she felt the stakes rise. Could her passion transform their entwined fears into something magnificent? Would this endeavor be the test that either strengthened or fractured their bond? The silence that followed spoke volumes, opportunities and dangers coexisted, but the next chapter of their lives awaited the wielding of courageous dreams crafted in the shadows of uncertainty. The tension lingered, wrapping around them both a prelude to the next reckoning on their shared journey, where success and failure convened, and passion beckoned them ever closer. Ellen sat at her kitchen table once more, the remnants of yesterday's exhilaration fading into a palpable tension. Isaac's words echoed in her mind, and she felt the weight of their future hanging in the balance. Doubt clawed at her, the fear of failure lurking around every corner. But she also felt the undeniable urge to push forward, to carve a path through the uncertainty that enveloped them. Taking a deep breath, she picked up her colored pens and began drawing again. This time, her sketches took on a different tone, more ambitious, more urgent. She envisioned not just workshops, but community dialogues, each piece of art sparking a deeper conversation about resilience, identity, and transformation. Through her mother's legacy, she aimed to challenge perceptions and ignite passions. The following day, Ellen decided to tackle one of her biggest challenges, reaching out to Isaac's circle for their support. She paced their living room, rehearsing her pitch in her mind. The many tales from her mother's journal had shown her that vulnerability often opened doors, but she knew Isaac's family would be skeptical, accustomed to safety over risk. Art is not just a vocation, she whispered to herself, aligning her convictions. It was a revolutionary act. Deeply unsettled yet resolute, she called her closest ally, Naomi, a sharp businesswoman and a dear friend. Ellen needed someone who'd advocate for her vision if she faltered. "Ellen, what is going on? Your voice sounds shaky," Naomi said, concern seeping through the speaker. "I need your help," Ellen replied, the urgency rushing forth. "I want to present this idea to Isaac's brother, someone who can persuade him while I establish credibility. Can we meet?" "Absolutely. I'm in." Naomi's enthusiasm sparked a flicker of hope within Ellen. The meeting was set, and she could feel the momentum building. Later, as she prepared for their meeting, Ellen immersed herself in her sketches, refining each detail, recalling every word of her mother's stories that had served as her foundation. With each stroke of the pen, she internalized the core message she wished to convey, that art held the power to transform not just individuals but entire narratives. On the day of the meeting, she dressed with intention, choosing an outfit that exuded both professionalism and her creative spirit. When Naomi arrived, Ellen felt the energy shift, the impending possibility of support curbing her anxiety. They made their way to the cafe where Isaac's brother, Paul, would meet them. As they settled into a corner booth, Ellen's palms grew clammy. She could feel her heart pounding against her ribs, fueled by anticipation and self-doubt. Would Paul understand her vision, or would he dismiss it as a whimsical dream? "Remember, Ellen, you're not just pitching an idea, you're sharing a mission," Naomi encouraged, her hand resting reassuringly on Ellen's arm. When Paul arrived, he appeared composed, with an air of skepticism. Ellen felt the tension creeping back. Just as she began to speak, the memories of Isaac's apprehensive gaze flooded her mind. She started with a story, weaving in the experiences of her mother, painting vivid images with her words. Their lives, she explained, were similar in many ways, bound by struggle but thriving in resilience. With each revelation, she noticed Paul's expression shift from doubt to intrigue. This, she mused, was the power of storytelling, not merely to engage, but to transform. Ellen finished her pitch, her voice steady but passionate. "We can create something that benefits everyone, a space where relationships and creativity intertwine, encouraging people to see beyond their fears." After a moment of silence, Paul leaned back, deliberating. "It's certainly a bold vision," he acknowledged. "But there's risk. How do you plan to manage the fallout should it not hit the mark?" The question hung heavy. Ellen took a breath, recalling the foundation of her vision: the stories, her mother, the art. Every meaningful endeavor carries a risk. But if we don't take that leap, we remain static, trapped in our fears, she responded, pushing through the uncertainty. I believe we can inspire others to create their legacies." Ellen saw the flicker of contemplation in Paul's eyes, and with it, a spark of acceptance. She felt it the potential to impact, not just in this moment, but in opening doors for her future. As their discussion transitioned into strategy, the urgency of her vision pulsated, a siren call that led her deeper into the world of possibilities. Yet, the underlying tension remained: would Isaac ever come to see the merit of her ambition, or would this rift and divergence propel them further apart? As Ellen left the cafe, a cautious optimism filled her. She had made strides today, but uncertainty still loomed. Would she be strong enough to face the inevitable pushback from Isaac? Would she be able to hold on to her conviction even as their paths began to diverge? The journey ahead welcomed both opportunity and challenge, and with each step, Ellen was prepared to confront the fears that had haunted her for too long, one artful expression at a time. The days following her meeting with Paul blurred into a haze of activity, as Ellen diligently worked to turn her vision into a cohesive plan. Mapping out her ideas on colorful sketches and notes, she felt an electrifying energy surge within her. She was building something significant from the ground up. But as excitement thrummed in her veins, an undercurrent of anxiety gnawed at her, rooted in her relationship with Isaac. Ellen often caught herself glancing at her phone, deliberating over whether to reach out to him or remain distant, believing he needed time to digest the news of her ambitions. But the silence started feeling like an unbridgeable chasm. Was she waiting for his approval or simply afraid of the potential backlash? Invading her thoughts was the realization that she had set a new course, one that might put her at odds with Isaac's quiet, more traditional expectations. With every drawing she completed, the stakes elevated. Art had become her voice, her weapon against stagnation and fear, and she couldn't help but wonder if that made her disloyal to the world they once envisioned together. One late evening, as she was finishing a sketch of a vision board meant to outline the community dialogues she sought, a memory surfaced. It was of her mother, sitting at the very same table, frustration spilling as she confronted the limitations of their small town. "Sometimes, Ellen, to break through, you have to break apart," she had said, with a tone that hinted at deeper wisdom. Ellen felt a surge of clarity. This was her moment to test that wisdom, to not only break apart from her expectations but to merge her identity with her ambition. She understood now that she didn't have to diminish her relationship with Isaac to embrace her art. Instead, she needed to find a way to integrate both dimensions harmoniously. Determined, she began crafting an invitation for Isaac, an offer to join her in exploring her ideas and potentially collaborating on a project that could embody both their visions. But each word she wrote felt heavy with uncertainty, laden with the fear of rejection. Would he dismiss it as another of her flights of fancy? The next day dawned with a sense of purpose as she prepared to visit a local gallery to gather inspiration and network with potential collaborators. Walking through the bright, airy space, the art displayed resonated with her mission. Each piece seemed to vibrate with the stories of the artists, underscoring the power of expression. She spoke with gallery managers and artists, finessing her pitch. The connections she made fueled her ambitions. She returned home with a cache of business cards clutched tightly in her palm and an invigorating sense of possibility coursing through her. Yet, even as a smile crept onto her face, doubt loomed with each step back into her home. That night, sitting on the couch, Ellen finally decided to call Isaac. It wasn't a simple decision, but the weight of preserving her vision and her relationship was too intense to ignore. Her heart raced as she hit dial. In the lull before the call connected, she imagined all the ways he might react: indifference, skepticism, a conversation that might spiral downhill. "Ellen?" Isaac's voice came through, a mixture of concern and surprise. She noticed the tense silence behind his words. "I wasn't expecting to hear from you." "Hey, Isaac. I've been thinking a lot," she started, voice steady despite the turmoil inside. The words poured out, detailing her vision, her reflections, and how important it was for her to have him on this journey. His silence was a void that stretched on, and she briefly regretted her boldness, grasping for reassurance. When he finally spoke, his tone was measured. "It sounds like you're really committed to this," he acknowledged, but the tension in his words was unmistakable. "But I'm not sure that this aligns with who we are." Those words pierced deeper than any doubt she held. Ellen's heart sank. This wasn't just skepticism, it was a challenge. As they talked, her initial excitement began to wane, conflicted by the enormity of what lay ahead. It was clear, they were diverging, and no amount of persuasion could merge their paths without sacrifices. "Maybe I'm not asking for you to agree with everything," she finally stated, her voice firm. "But I need you to see how important this is to me." As they wrestled with each other's perspectives, Ellen realized the discussion was evolving into something more pivotal than art. This was about identity, commitment, and the future. Hanging up, Ellen's resolve solidified like cement. She was not prepared to surrender her aspirations to their differences. The path forward was unclear, but she could sense her narrative was changing. The realization hit hard: her transformation was not simply a professional one, it threatened the very core of her personal life. How could she reconcile the growth within when Isaac stood as an emblem of her past? With a determined breath, Ellen lifted her sketches. Now more than just drafts, she was preparing to fight for her dreams. But with each page turned, she felt the gravity of her choices. Could she truly remain whole if that meant risking the relationship that had once defined her? In that whirlpool of conflicting emotions, a new question emerged: at what point does pursuing a personal vision require stepping away from those you love? As the challenges ahead loomed larger, Ellen felt both empowered and unsteady, ready to confront whatever came next. Ellen awoke the next morning, an amalgamation of determination and anxiety pulsating through her. The weight of last night's conversation still pressed against her chest, a constant reminder of the crossroads she faced. The sunlight filtering in through her bedroom window felt both inviting and accusatory, illuminating the sketches scattered across her desk, tangible evidence of her ambitions so intensely at odds with her current life. As she moved through her morning routine, she found herself staring into the mirror, on the brink of questioning her resolve. Who was she becoming? Could she really be the person who pursued a path that might lead to distance from Isaac? Each thought echoed through her mind, both stifling and exhilarating. She shook off the uncertainty, reminding herself of what she was fighting for: a chance to carve out her identity as an artist. With her mindset reset, Ellen opened her laptop, ready to reach out to the contacts she had met at the gallery. The business cards felt like more than just pieces of paper, they represented connections that could launch her project into existence. With deliberate labor, she crafted emails, her fingers dancing over the keyboard as ideas flowed into coherent proposals. Each click of the mouse felt like pulling a thread that could unravel an entirely new tapestry of possibilities. Hours passed, and as Ellen reviewed her drafts, a sense of empowerment filled her. She had already taken significant steps forward, networking, developing ideas, and articulating her vision. Yet there was a gnawing sensation beneath this pride, a creeping fear that Isaac's doubts would linger like shadows, blocking her efforts from the light of success. The decision weighed heavily on her: should she forge ahead alone, or would it be wise to pull him back into her vision, to show him the collaborative potential she still believed was intrinsic to their relationship? That evening, after finishing her email composition, Ellen flipped through her sketchbook restlessly, her thoughts drifting back to the invitation she had crafted for Isaac. Could she present her project as a unifying endeavor instead of a solitary pursuit? It was an appealing thought, yet she knew the risk of potential rejection lurked behind it. Her vision was hers alone to nurture, and although she longed to include Isaac, she also feared his dismissal could fracture her progress. Late that night, she lay awake, torturing herself with the familiar tightrope walk between hope and despair. Her thoughts spiraled wildly. Was it futile to cling to the belief that they could find common ground? Each passing moment compounded her internal dilemma: would she be fading back into past expectations or boldly moving forward, ready to step boldly into her future? The next day arrived with a push of adrenaline. She had resolved to reach out to one of the artists she had met. She needed to validate her project independently, building the foundation that could eventually bolster her position. They had expressed interest in collaborations, and she yearned to explore ideas that could thrive without needing Isaac's approval as the threshold. Her conversation with Ellie, a painter interested in social narratives, exploded with creativity and excitement. The two of them sparked off each other's ideas, rallying around shared aspirations. As they fleshed out concepts, Ellen found herself feeling lighter, as if a layer of doubt had been peeled away. This was it, she thought, a glimpse into what her art could accomplish. However, the moment was punctuated with an ache of longing for Isaac's input. The thrill of envisioning her future was fractured by a question she could not shake. Was she developing an identity that could fully substitute for the life they'd built together? That weekend, Ellen had been invited to a local arts workshop where aspiring artists broadened their skills and shared insights about their journeys. She decided to go determined to immerse herself in creative energy. Walking into the vibrant space, her heart raced, conversations buzzed with enthusiasm and shared struggle. As she engaged with other attendees, skillfully revealing pieces of herself in discussions, Ellen felt a warmth she hadn't experienced in months. The sense of belonging rekindled a flame within her but reminded her painfully of the silence with Isaac. At that moment, she understood that pursuing her passion could neither erase the past nor dismiss aspects crucial to who she was, including her relationship with him. In the midst of laughter and creativity, a profound realization settled over her. She needed to confront Isaac again, but this time not with the burden of expectation. She would need to lay bare her vision, inviting him into her creative world rather than expecting him to validate her decisions. As she departed the workshop, exhilaration coursed through her, but doubt was waiting at the exit, whispering questions about the inevitable confrontation. Her heart raced with the thought of making her case to Isaac yet again. Was she truly ready to lay everything on the line? The complexities of her personal aspirations pressed down, and Ellen knew she was approaching a pivotal moment. Soon, she would have to face him with an invitation not just into her art, but into a deeper understanding of who she could become. The reality of reconciling dreams and love loomed ahead, and one daunting question echoed in her mind: how would she bridge the gap between her past and her future? Ellen stood outside Isaac's apartment later that week, the weight of her intentions swirling in her chest. She could hear muted sounds from inside a television flickering and soft footsteps padding across the floor. She hesitated, rehearsing conversations in her head, fine-tuning the pitch of her heart's overflow. Was she too optimistic? Could her vision really matter to him? With a deep breath, she rang the doorbell, the sound echoing her uncertainty. Each second felt like an eternity, and she was driven by the hope of support yet tethered by the fear of confrontation. When Isaac finally opened the door, his expression shifted from surprise to a cautious smile, mirroring the warmth within her heart. "Hey," he greeted, stepping aside to let her in. She crossed the threshold, a tangible symbol of her decision to openly connect with him. Their living room felt cozy, filled with familiar clutter, books piled high, paint-splattered canvases leaning against the walls. Despite the stark reminders of the shared life they had built, an edge of solitude lingered in the air. "I've been thinking." Ellen started, her voice wavering slightly. She watched as Isaac settled into a chair, his body language becoming protective yet curious. "About what?" he asked, tilting his head in an encouraging yet guarded manner. "I want to talk about my art project," she declared, steeling her resolve. "And how I see it involving both of us." He raised an eyebrow, skepticism flickering in his eyes. "Involving us? You mean you want me to help?" "Not just that," Ellen rushed to explain, each word tumbling out in a rush. "I see this collaborative potential, a place where our talents can intersect. I want to explore narratives together." Isaac's face remained flat, scrutinizing, as he processed her words. Ellen could feel a fission of her own excitement tempered by the reality of his reservations. For years, creative exchanges had flowed naturally between them. Now, vulnerability threatened to corrode that bond. "Ellen, I get that you're passionate about this, but you know how I feel about blending personal and professional. It's dangerous." She swallowed hard, grappling with the stinging awareness of his doubt. But sometimes, I think blending those elements is the very essence of creating something meaningful. We can push boundaries together. Silence filled the room, heavy and expectant. Ellen felt her courage teetering on the edge as he remained unmoved, his past criticisms echoing in her mind like demons refusing to dissipate. "Do you know what you're asking?" he replied finally, his voice quiet but firm. "You're asking me to wade into waters that could drown us both." Ellen's heart raced, caught in the crossfire of her yearning for understanding and Isaac's protective instincts. "Isn't it worth the risk?" she challenged, feeling a swell of frustration bubble. His gaze pierced through her, revealing a chasm of conflicting emotions. He wanted her to thrive, yet the shadows of their shared past loomed ominously. "I don't want to see you hurt," he admitted, the softness in his tone betraying his internal conflict. "You can't rely on me to validate your vision. You need to do that yourself." Ellen's pulse quickened. He was right, but his words stung with the truth of her fears. Did the seeds of doubt mean she still depended too much on him? She had embarked on this journey seeking independence, yet here she was, trying to tie him into her creative aspirations. "I want to prove to you that I can carve out my identity without losing what we have together," Ellen responded, her voice more steady now, resolute. "But for that, I need you to see me the real me, not the part of me that feels incomplete without your approval." In that moment of honesty, a flicker of understanding passed between them. The weight of unvoiced emotions hung heavy, and Ellen sensed a tipping point. She had laid her desires bare, now it was his turn. Isaac leaned back, the tension palpable as he searched her face for traces of underlying uncertainty. "What if I can't give you what you're asking for?" Ellen's pulse thudded in her ears. She had delivered her intention, raw and vulnerable, yet the answer kept eluding her. If Isaac couldn't embrace this vision, would she need to walk a path alone after all? The possibility clawed at her insides, and in that moment, Ellen grasped a profound truth. It was not just about collaborating with Isaac, it was about forging her own path regardless of whether he chose to accompany her. "Then I'll learn to stand on my own," she whispered, sense of urgency swelling within her. As she exited his apartment, uncertainty lingered like fog, but underneath it lay a fresh determination, a fresh resolve. Her journey as an artist was not solely tied to Isaac, and with that realization came renewed strength. Yet, as she stared at the city lights twinkling like distant stars, the weight of impending decisions felt denser than before. Could she truly step into this new identity without the shadows of their past cradling her? In the depth of the night, Ellen clenched her determination as her heart raced with possibilities, but just ahead lay the haunting pause, a question lingering in the air. Could she confront not only Isaac but the vast uncertainties of her own ambitions? The morning sun poured into Ellen's studio, illuminating her sketches and mock-up designs for the gallery. Each sheet of paper depicted a future she envisioned not just for herself, but for Isaac and their shared legacy. Yet, beyond the bright possibilities, tension remained heavy in her chest, a reminder of the unresolved confrontation etched into her memory. Ellen understood she stood at a crucial juncture. She had taken significant strides toward her aspirations, reaching out, networking, and even envisioning community workshops. But she needed more than plans. She needed concrete results to both validate her ambitions and bridge the widening gulf between her and Isaac. How could she engage him without alienating him in the process? Determined, she decided it was time to transform her creative ideas into a tangible presentation. If she could bring Isaac aboard as a partner instead of just a hurdle, perhaps he could understand her vision in a way that surpassed mere words. She immersed herself in her mother's journal, gathering quotes and anecdotes that demonstrated her family's connection to resilience and artistic spirit. With each element she incorporated, her faith in the project deepened. After days of tireless work, Ellen was ready. She organized an informal presentation for Isaac, an invitation to come see the essence of her project in a real or tactile form. It was an effort to show him that this dream was not just abstract, it was grounded in history and purpose. As night fell, she set the table with snacks and set up her visual aids, transforming their dining area into a showcase of her aspirations. When Isaac arrived after work, the expression on his face shifted from fatigue to a cautious curiosity as he surveyed the setup. "What's all this?" he asked, a hint of apprehension in his tone. "This is your invitation to understand my vision, what I see for us and the gallery," Ellen replied, excitement bubbling beneath her calm exterior. "I want you to see how powerful this can be, together." Isaac took a seat, and Ellen began her presentation, her voice steady but tinged with the weight of hope. She described the workshops she envisioned, the local artists she had met, and how they would cultivate a space that inspired both creation and collaboration. As she spoke, her passion radiated, and she could see Isaac grappling with his skepticism. "So, what do you want from me?" he asked, his expression scrutinizing. "I want you to be part of this," she emphasized. "Not just as a supporter, but as a partner. I need your insight, your ideas. Together, we could create something that embodies both our artistic voices." He leaned back, the flicker of contemplation crossing his brow. "You really believe we could mesh our visions into one?" Ellen nodded, feeling her heart race as anticipation danced in the air. "Absolutely. Your perspective would transform this into something greater, broader. Art is more than expression, it's a dialogue, and we have so much to share." As she flipped through her visual aids, a slide showcasing sketches of local artists captured his attention. The vibrant colors and stories began to break through the barriers around his heart. Ellen carefully detailed how each artist's journey resonated not only with her mother's legacy, but with their family history. Isaac's demeanor softened visibly. "You've clearly put your heart into this," he admitted, glancing over the designs. "But I'm still worried about the risks. What if we fail?" "Failure is part of the journey," Ellen replied earnestly, her eyes searching his. "But we can't let fear dictate our choices. This," she gestured broadly to the materials spread before her, "is more than just art, it's about reclaiming our lives, together." The silence between them was thick with contemplation. Ellen could almost see the gears turning in Isaac's mind, his defenses wavering before the sheer force of her belief. "What do you think? Would the gallery be a space you could envision being part of?" Isaac's gaze held hers as realization began to dawn. "If I were to come on board, we would have to ensure we're balanced in this partnership. I don't want to see you sacrifice your vision or your heart again." Ellen smiled, the tension in her chest easing a bit. "I wouldn't have it any other way." A slow smile crept across his face, and she felt her heart lift. "Okay. Let us explore this together." The conversation cascaded into a flurry of ideas and suggestions, their initial hesitations giving way to shared enthusiasm. They spent hours sketching possibilities, brainstorming how to weave their talents and aspirations into a cohesive narrative. It wasn't just about art, it was about belonging, understanding, and the rebirth of their relationship. Later that night, as they finalized plans for their first artist showcase, Ellen felt a profound sense of relief wash over her. This was the moment she had longed for. Rather than sacrificing her dreams at the altar of their past, she had forged a new path, one that embraced both her artistic identity and her bond with Isaac. In the ensuing weeks, the results were palpable. They reached out to more artists, held community dialogues, and designed a vibrant social media campaign. With their efforts gaining momentum, Ellen watched as the gallery began to feel like a living entity, infused with both her and Isaac's passions. On opening night, the gallery came alive with laughter and vibrant discussions. People gathered to celebrate creativity and community, and as Ellen stood in the center of it all, surrounded by the expressions of joy and camaraderie, she felt the weight of accomplishment. Isaac appeared beside her, his presence radiating pride. "You were right," he admitted, moments before they stepped into their first exhibition. "The vision we've created is meaningful. I couldn't have seen it without you." Ellen looked around, witnessing their dreams becoming reality. "And I couldn't have done it without you. This is the beginning of a new chapter for both of us." With newfound clarity, Ellen took stock of her journey. It was no longer just about reclaiming her mother's legacy or proving herself as an artist, it was about embracing a future imbued with resilience and potential together. As the night unfolded, she reveled in the culmination of their labor, strengthened by shared faith in a vision they had crafted hand in hand. It wasn't merely a gallery, it was a testament to their growth, their ambitions, and the beautiful complexities of love that intertwined with purpose. And with every artwork reflecting their journey, Ellen realized that their transformation was just beginning, a canvas waiting for the next stroke of brilliance. The experience cemented her resolve. She had conquered fears, bridged divides, and achieved a lifelong aspiration. Their partnership now solidly rooted, Ellen felt empowered to embrace the journey ahead, knowing that true growth often emerged from the most unexpected of beginnings. As she glanced at Isaac, standing proudly beside her, she recognized a shared future filled with endless possibility. If you recognize the power of personal growth and transformation, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for incredible stories of overcoming challenges. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm, and don't wait even one more second to share this journey with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support has the potential to ignite the fuel for many more emotional stories that redefine lives. Comment below with your reactions and theories about the ending. Let us expand this dialogue.